In the year 2026, around half of the male engineers will be unemployed in the European Union. The same for nurses. Around half of the female nurses will be unemployed if we assume the quota applies the same to women. They will start pushing the LGBT ideology, especially transgenderism, and turn men into women and women into men. Immigrants will be coming in. Then you will end up like Australia, where most of the black and brown people vanish. Or end up like in Canada and in the USA. Most of the brown people there vanished too. I am not talking about Native American or North American Indian genocide. No, don't get me wrong. The word genocide is only for Chinese Xinjiang. You have to believe the lies of the mainstream media, the propaganda machines. I am like Galileo. The sun spins around the earth and not the earth spins around the sun. Blah blah blah. Imagine the church is now the mainstream media. You cannot believe your own eyes. Where the brown people and black people in North America and Australia, where are they? The brown people still exist in Xinjiang. The mainstream media propaganda machine films the Chinese military police inside the Chinese region Xinjiang, trying to stop terrorists entering Chinese borders from northern Pakistan and Afghanistan. And by the way, it is where the Americans killed Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. It was not China that went killing people. It is the Americans and European nations in Afghanistan and in Pakistan. Who is really telling the truth? So all these bring back to the year 2026. Lots of immigrants in the European Union, propaganda machines and mainstream media is going to make you believe we need to have 50-50 men and women in the jobs and companies. Then male-dominated and female-dominated jobs will see massive unemployment as they have now gender quotas. At the same time, media propaganda tells you that this is okay and is good for you. You cannot question the propaganda or you will be labeled misogynist, misandrist, hate speech, or even worst case possible, thrown in jail like influencer Andrew Tate, for example. If you still don't believe the reality I've explained, then I will give you more examples. Try to refresh your mind and rewind to the year 2019, right before the pandemic. You have this moment where the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said, "Take off your black hands immediately," by which he meant stop interfering in the Hong Kong riots. Now you see, the black hands have left Hong Kong and Xinjiang, and the black hands got flushed into continental Europe, where you see Black Lives Matter and all kinds of movements like Greta Thunberg, Pride, and so on. Because whenever a power messed with China, let me give you an example. In ancient China, the Chinese emperor flushed Mongol barbarians into Eastern Europe and messed up the Roman Empire. It is the same if you can free your mind from the mainstream media and propaganda machines and read history books. It's much better. All the Lenin statues have been removed last year in my country, Finland. Workers on strike because of rising prices from the war in Ukraine. So why remove the statue of Lenin, but the statues of the Russian Tsar remains, it stays there. Against the rainbow benches and Lenin statues are now the symbol of hate in this cultural revolution in the European Union for some reason. So why doesn't anyone realize or question about it? Because people are too distracted. They stare at the screens on the train, on the bus, watching TikTok videos, or having some remote bullshit meeting online, attending online lecture on the bus with headphones on public transport. The last time I looked up on fertility rate, it fell below China's, where there had been the one-child policy. And then the immigration to increase the disaster the leaders have caused. Absolutely disappointing. Had I finished my engineering degree, I would likely be unemployed due to my young age and lack of experience. So I am basically fucked by the system, by the so-called black hands, or in other words, the agenda. I prefer calling it the black hands, as Wang Yi calls it, because somebody at the top is manipulating the system where the hands cannot be seen as it is black. These workers going on strike almost every month in a welfare state like Finland last year and this year is absolutely disastrous because I haven't received any unemployment benefits since I lost my full-time job last year. And to be clear to you guys, I'm not a European Union citizen. I'm a Chinese citizen, but I'm born and living in Finland. So this country means a lot to me. I like this country. But they told me I was too young. I need to be at least 25 years old to be eligible for unemployment benefits and all sorts of bullshits. So like you are not guaranteed unemployment benefits, which brings to the point that how dire the situation is if you assume half the gender needs to change jobs that do not suit their gender roles, etc. Or even worse, forced to change gender, which sounds crazy, but it is going there with these cultural revolution tactics in the European Union. I do not blame any leader. They have sold themselves to the black hands from Hong Kong and Wang Yi. You understand me very well. They have to get paid and survive, so they sold themselves as politicians, you know. I want to state it clearly. These are not my words. They are decisions made by European leaders from the government. You can look it up yourself on Google or search it anywhere. Type EU quota women in workforce in the search. I am not a European citizen, again, to make it clear, so I get to say whatever I wanted to say, and I don't even need to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about going to the army, conscription, bullshit like in Ukraine and NATO, all bullshit. A lot of Chinese people take Finnish citizenship and then they get fucked by NATO this year. I feel bad for them, but again, I cannot judge. It's their own choice. It's good for them if they chose to do so. I got attacked for hate speech for telling the truth because Khalid Hosseini said it is better to get hurt by the truth than comforted by the lie. I am very fed up with all the lies and bullshit. And people say I'm spreading bullshit, but I would rather get hurt by the truth. That is just me. I cannot help it. And I wish I do get an engineering job when I finish in about 2026, 2027. I have no plans yet. Wish everyone all the best. And if you're a female, you want to go into nursing, you have to think about it. Maybe soon, maybe 60% of the position are female, 40% position are male in nursing. About half of you will lose your job. I do not know what they are planning to do, those black hands. Yeah, I like to use the word black hands. It's a very good description to who is manipulating the system.